Hi, everybody. Shavua Tov. This is Eve Harow on Rejuvenation for the Land of Israel Network. It's Sunday, the 23rd of February, 2020. Beautiful day in Israel. The 28th day of Shvat, 5780, the month of Shvat, is winding down. And we're going to begin this week the very, very joyous month of Adar, which includes, of course, Purim, which is the holiday of hidden miracles. So can't we always use that? So the show today is really two interviews that I did last week at the Our Crowd Global Investor Summit in Jerusalem, the investment company. And this was an amazing, amazing event in the International Convention Center in Jerusalem. You see a lot of the different startups in Israel, some of the ideas. It's like, wow, how did they even think about that? And people from all over the world who came to check out the companies and possibly invest. So I was just roaming around there and I got a couple of interviews. I could have gotten many more, but I had a lot to do. So, and I'll explain to you in a minute what that was. So you're going to be hearing from Akiva Fuld and Dr. Amit Goffer when I just finished this little opening monologue. And what I had to do was prepare for one of my daughter's weddings. My youngest, she got married on Friday, just a couple of days ago. So, still like getting over the wedding. And so that's why I've been just a little bit busy, but still putting the shows out. So she got married on Friday, and it was a very joyous wedding, as weddings are, made even more joyous by the fact that a few years ago, Neely was very, very sick with anorexia, and through a tremendous amount of hard work on her part and insight, and I don't even know where she gets the strength to do this, she was able to beat it, of course, with a lot of family support and a lot of prayers to our Creator. And so walking Neely down the aisle on Friday was an experience that at some point a few years ago, I wasn't sure that we would ever have. So as joyous as weddings are and should be, there was an added element of total gratitude to Hashem for getting to this day, for seeing the person that she has become. She's just an awesome human being. And I'm not just saying that because I'm her mother. Everybody who knows her would agree. And she's now studying to help others who were in the situation that she was in. And so I'm saying this, even though I really rarely disclose personal things, if I can help it, and because I know that there are many of you out there who are struggling yourselves or have children or someone else that you love who are struggling. And sometimes it feels like it's just too high of a mountain to climb and too much. And sometimes it is for reasons beyond our control. And sometimes with all our prayers, Hashem still says no. But I'm just telling you from a very, very deep place to not give up, because if we were able to walk her down the aisle, then maybe you too will be able to do that. And that's my blessing for all of you out there, is that you will be able to have the joy that we had on Friday, and never, ever, ever take anything for granted, because we really can't. And so I just wanted to share that with you, and that's also why I've just been a little bit busy and distracted. And of course, since I never just like then sit down, I'm going to be heading at the end of this week to AIPAC. I'll be in Washington, D.C. just for the weekend. It's a crazy year because the Israeli elections, as I'm sure you all know, are next Monday. And so either Israelis are not going to AIPAC this year at all, or leaving early in order to get back for the elections on Monday. There's no way that I'm not voting. I'm going in on Thursday, and I'll be there for the Shabbaton. There's a beautiful, beautiful Shabbat that precedes AIPAC. It was started by people from the West Coast who didn't want to just like arrive on Sunday and be exhausted, so they started coming in earlier for the weekend. And the Shabbat itself is a beautiful event. And so I'll be there. And mainly for Saturday night. I know that Yishai is doing an event for CPAC on Thursday night, but a lot of the AIPAC people won't be there yet on Thursday. And a few of us felt that it was super important, especially this year with all the talk that's going on about the settlements in Judea and Samaria on the different maps and the deal of the century, that there be an evening devoted to people who come in for AIPAC, which notoriously, except for last year, where my mayor, Oded Ravivi, was on a panel, doesn't allow any discussion of the settlements, doesn't have panels on it. It's really a crazy thing when you think about it, that this major organization that does really a lot of good for Israel and lobbies for Israel, and a lot of wonderful people belong to AIPAC, but just kind of tiptoes around that elephant in the room and doesn't allow people to have a discussion from furthest right to furthest left about this issue that is the issue. And so it's important that AIPAC people, the people who are attending AIPAC, many of whom feel differently than the ruling body of AIPAC and would like it discussed and have relatives and friends, and even they themselves very connected to Judea and Samaria, that they have an opportunity to ask questions of people who know a little bit more, and can also give them some information that when they go and lobby their own congressman and go back into AIPAC, say, hey, listen, this is an issue that needs to be discussed. So next year, because everything is always planned a year in advance, next year there needs to be some kind of panel. There needs to be some kind of discussion. Who knows what next year will bring, that this is not an issue that can or should be ignored. And so we'll be having an event. One Israel Fund is co-sponsoring with Emet, the Endowment for Middle East Truth, Sarah Stern's marvelous organization. And so it's going to be Saturday night in Washington, D.C. at 1529 16th Street, Northwest, Washington, D.C. It's the Jewish Community Center. So if you missed the address, plug in Jewish Community Center at 8:15 in the evening. Next Saturday night, I will be there. Dr. Harold Rode will be there. Sarah Stern, of course, will be there. Head of One Israel Fund, Scott Feltman, as well. And we'll see who we can bring in during this next week. It's kind of being done on the fly. I couldn't work very hard on it for obvious reasons, and there's a lot going on. But we do want to do this, so we're pulling it together. And any of you who want to come, it's open to all. There's no fee. There'll be kosher refreshments, and you really get an opportunity for some Q&A and to get some maps of Judea and Samaria as well, and also to meet people who feel the same way as you do that you might not have met with the tens of thousands of people who come to AIPAC. This way, people will be able to connect and maybe organize in some fashion and think about how to go into AIPAC with this idea of also keeping, the communities in Judea and Samaria on somebody's agenda, as they should have been, but sometimes we have to influence from the bottom up. So I'd love to see you all. You can RSVP, just so we have an idea of how many people are coming, at events@oneisraelfund.org. You can also, of course, write to me, eve@thelandofisrael.com. And so I'm hoping to see you there at the Shabbaton, at the event on Saturday night. As I said again, 8:15, 1529 16th Street in Washington, D.C. at the Jewish Community Center. So it looks to be another busy week. Probably not as emotional as last week was, but just appreciate every single day. I'm looking out the window now. I can see from my house in Efrat in the Judean Hills in Gush Etzion, I can see the two towers sticking up over the ridge of Moab that are Amman, just across the rift. It's that kind of clear and beautiful day here, and clarity is important. So hoping to add to that for all of you. In the meanwhile, I'm out of here. Got what to do. So have an incredible week, everybody. And again, please be in touch, and hope to see you, and keep up the strength. All right. Just coming from a little Jewish mother. Sometimes, even on the really dark days, there are glimmers of light. And then sometimes there are days where the light is totally blinding. So with gratitude to Hashem and to my family and to all of our friends who made it a most joyous day last week on Neely's wedding day, and to her husband, who is exactly who we prayed for, and is just a marvelous human being. There are people out there that can be good matches. We just have to pray, and then have to show up. So it's a combination of two things, of action and prayer, as everything is in our life. So I'm wishing them a long and happy life, and that all the difficult times are behind them. And if not, that Hashem gives them the strength to cope with whatever comes, and in a way that brings them closer together. And that is hugely important. Hi, everybody. Eve Harow, Rejuvenation for the Land of Israel Network. It is a beautiful day in Jerusalem. It's February 13th, 2020, and our crowd is having a huge summit. Tens of thousands of people here at the International Convention Center in Jerusalem. All kinds of startups, all kinds of different initiatives. Just walked in the door a couple minutes ago and ran into old friend Akiva Fuld with his tie. How can I try and help you today? So Akiva, how's it going?
It's how could it go bad? I literally am doing this now. I started 9 months ago. One day I typed into my Facebook, what can I do for you today? A lot of people laughed at me. And then I did it the next day and the next day. 4 months later, people came to me and wanted me to start it as a group so they could help also. And it's still going today. I have people from all over the world helping. I have people from all over the world asking for help of all sorts. From the what I call simple, I do counseling for divorce. I do career counseling. I do business development. Help feeding families, things along those lines. And then I have things like a father contacted me from America. His teenage son was here on an archaeological dig, and they thought he OD'd, but it was actually a bad trip. And after he was going to get better, the hospital didn't want to have any responsibility for him, and the archaeological dig didn't want to have any responsibility for him. So I was asked to drive down to Ashdod with the father's permission and so on, take him out of the hospital, and look around for a rehab for him to go into. At the age of 16, not being a citizen, it's very hard. I drove around for 2 days looking for a rehab for him, and I had a woman in New Zealand. In New Zealand, they when you're dying, you have a terminal illness. They not only let you die, they try to kill you. So I had this woman with stage 3 ovarian cancer. And 31 days they starved her. Finally, she decided to come to Israel. They contacted me to help with her, to help out with the other people who came, helping them find a place to stay and so on. In the end, her credit card ran out for her hospital stay. She came, she's not a citizen, anything. And I pushed through her aliyah to make it quicker so she can get on health insurance in Israel.
So you're just doing some heavy-duty stuff. It's not like, how can I try to help you today? Do you need help bagging your groceries?
I've taken apart furniture and moved it from one side of Yerushalayim to another. I helped a person take apart a machsan, meaning just go through their dirty machsan and get rid of and choose
storage shed.
I'm building now. There's a guy in Yonah Seif. So I have a relationship with Narissa's secondhand store in Efrat, and they told me that Yonah has a storage facility just outside Efrat. And years ago, he was using that storage facility to house furniture and large appliances for people who were in need, and then he just got out of it for whatever reason. And now, since that's what I'm doing, he's indefinitely giving me the space to work with him to do the same thing.
So what's the impetus behind what you're doing right now? Because, a lot of people go through life not looking to help other people. The people in their small circle, obviously there's a give and take with your family, with your friends. But most people, are like trying to get stuff and see, make things better for themselves. And here you are very blatantly going through life, trying to help other people. Where did this come from?
I have no idea, honestly. When people ask me, I have about 7 answers. I don't know which one you want, but if you want the most shocking, I hate people. I'm pessimistic about mankind. I'm optimistic about Hashem.
This is true. I've known him for a long time.
And I'm pessimistic about mankind. And then I realized that if mankind is part of Hashem, then how can I be pessimistic about mankind? So if I need to be optimistic about mankind, then I got to come to love them, and the only way to come to love is by giving. You don't love and then give, you give and then love. So I think that was really one of the main impeti. I don't know if that's the proper Latin conjugation. There's really just, I got burnt out from sales and marketing and telemarketing and so on, and I just got fed up with it. I turned to my wife about 2 years ago, and I wanted to set up, there's a walking plaza between the central bus station and the light rail. And, a lot of people set up little things there. So I wanted to set up a table with 3 chairs and a water cooler and just a sign that says, I'm listening. Because I think a lot of people in this world just need to be heard. And my wife forbade me from doing it. She said it's a waste of your talents and a waste of time and so on. And I let it go for a while. And then literally sitting on Facebook one day, I just typed it in. I don't think I thought about it 5 seconds before, and I didn't think about it a day before, and I had no idea I was doing this. So
this is your social media table and chair, and what can I do for you?
Basically, and the one thing that I love about it is people love it. Number one is there are 2 main reasons I think it's working. Number one is I don't lecture. I do, and because I do, people want to join. When I made my birthday party at Alin Children's Hospital. I wanted to. I didn't want to raise any money for it. I was donated about 10,000 shekel overall by people throughout the world who just wanted to do it without me fundraising. Made a wonderful donuts and soup and blankets and gifts and clowns and musicians and so on. So because I don't lecture, people just want to jump on. When my belief is that when we say a light unto the nations, my belief is that light doesn't do anything. Light is. And because light is, there is illumination. If a Jew is a Jew, then there's illumination. So I don't go and lecture, I just do my thing. So that's one reason. The other reason is I believe that, we've had 20 years of social platforms where we're creating more and more and more relationships that are less and less and less real, and people are starting to get feeling cold and feeling separated and so on. And here, the same people with the same relationships are actually communicating. They're talking to each other, getting up and helping, meaning we've taken this platform that is cold and a lot impersonal, and it's actually becoming warm, and people just love that feeling.
All right, so you're here at this Our Crowd Summit with your tie. Any people coming up to you here?
Oh, a lot of people. They love my tie, so I hand them a card. But I really came for 2 reasons. Number one is having been in marketing, my belief, my knowledge is that 7 touches somebody remembers. So when you see a name 7 times, then it hits the memory. So I want people to see it. I want people to do it. Also, I'll make a little pitch. I'm building a side business I don't want to ever fundraise for this. I don't want to make it into anything. I don't want funds or a board ever to tell me what I can and can't help with. So I'm building a company where I do webinars and workshops teaching people the concept of altruistic selfishness. That by being selfish, doing for yourself, you're doing for the community. By doing for the community, you're doing for the self. Finally, the world...
Doesn't Rabbi Jonathan Sachs talk about that?
I don't know.
I believe so.
I don't know, it might be, but the concept is that I train people to understand that majority of people who are successful in life are givers, not takers. And I train people through 5 components, how to look at the world through giving eyes. And, for instance, for companies, there's actually financial value there, because if you create a giving mentality, then within the company, each department actually works with the other. And outwardly, it's not just, having some sort of program where we help the environment. If you are a giving company, people see it and people relate to it. I mean, if you remember Zappos, the shoe company, they had a whole bunch of rules and they were a real giving company. So I have 5 concepts, and that's what I'm building.
So if people want to reach you, how can they get a hold of you?
How can I try to help you today at gmail.com right now? I have a website, I Try to Help, and that's going to be going up hopefully in the next few weeks, because I'm also lining it up with International Good Deeds Day to try to do my own initiative on the same day, and people are going to post on my website the help that they've done that day as part of gratitude for somebody else who helped them. So they can come to that website and see things. A lot of people I've had people join Facebook just to join the group, just to look at it twice a day for the smile. It's like it's just so much fun.
That's absolutely amazing. Okay, Akiva Fuld, thank you so much. All right, everybody, I'll be back in a minute.
Israel's a thriving democracy, and the Jewish state too, and those concepts usually work beautifully together, but sometimes it creates tension. Hello, this is Gil Hoffman, host of Inside Israel Today, here on the Land of Israel Network, on thelandofisrael.com. We here at Inside Israel Today go into what's going on behind the scenes in Israel, giving you an insider's look of all the excitement in Israeli politics and why that should give you hope for the future rather than make you depressed. Yes, it can be done, so tune in and find out how here on the Land of Israel Network, on thelandofisrael.com.
Hi, everybody. Eve Harow, Rejuvenation on the Land of Israel Network. Still at our Crowd Summit. It is still February 13th, 2020. And I'm honored to be sitting with Dr. Amit Goffer of Upright Robotics Limited. So thank you, sir, for taking a few minutes out of what I see is a very busy day. Your booth has a lot of traffic.
That's right. Hello.
Tell my listeners, what is Upright?
Okay. Up and Ride, we develop robotic assisting devices for people that are disabled and people that are in the elderly community. And it's all started with me many years ago, with a device in a company called Rewalk, which enables the person to walk, climb stairs and so. Very good device, excellent, fantastic. But you have to have the ability, in order to use it, holding crutches. And that means that it's for paraplegic, which people that are paralyzed or have problems of walking, paralyzed waist down. And people like me that are quadriplegic, also the upper body is limited in, my hands, for example, are semi-paralyzed. So people like me and other many that are not able to use crutches cannot use the Rewalk. And that was the next stage, a device that good for almost the rest of the illnesses. I give examples. But going back to Rewalk, only, as I said, you have to have ability. So you cannot use it for multiple sclerosis and so. Now, the device that is Up and Ride, the purpose is to serve almost the rest of the people that are confined to wheelchair to be able to walk, not to walk maybe, but roll upright. So it's for, as I said, quadriplegic like me, and the multiple sclerosis, ALS. They all tried the device, and CP, TBI, traumatic brain injury, and the elderly population.
So may I ask some of your personal story? Also, first of all, if you've always been paralyzed, if it was an accident, but also what your scientific background is, because I'm sure there are many people in this situation who would have loved to invent what you invented, and but weren't able to. So how did the two come together?
Well, I was to begin with. I had. Like serial entrepreneur. So I was injured in 1997, 23 years ago, and I already had a company, which is an MRI company. Now it's Medtronic Israel. It was sold to them. Before that, it was called Odin, and I got injured, and then I thought, okay. Wheelchair is the only solution. I never thought about people that are paralyzed or wheelchairs. It wasn't in my mind at all. But once I got to be one of them, then I couldn't agree with the thing that, okay, wheelchair, this is it. And then I developed the Rewalk, that you can stand, and this country is very generous with people that's starting to develop. There was a Tnufa fund that actually that screen you and give you money, seed money. It was I paid $50,000 and they gave me $50,000, Today they give more, 80% I think. And that like coming to you and saying, sharing the risk with you, and it give you a lot of confidence. So this is how I started the Rewalk. And then it was until 2012 I was the CEO and the CTO. CTO I was all the time in my life. And following that, as I said, the time arrived to develop something for the other population, as I said. But I forgot maybe your question.
What is your
what
is your academic background?
My academic background, I have a PhD in electrical and computer engineering. And well, I was about 5 years in the army, and mostly as an engineer. And following that, I have a long history of in the country, in Rafael and other. So this is my background is mainly technical one.
So as my listeners can hear, we're not in a very quiet place. This whole convention center is buzzing. So we're in this room, though, where there's a lot going on. And as we walked in here, you said to me, you see these tall tables. You know, guys, like when you go to a wedding or some kind of event, there are these small tables that you're supposed to stand at, and you drink and you eat a little bit of hors d'oeuvres. And Dr. Amit Goffer said to me, so this right here was, these tall, skinny tables, was one of the impeti, I don't know what the plural is of impetus, for the invention, which has him standing straight. It's impossible to walk down the hall here and not see Dr. Goffer, because he's standing tall in this machine. And sometimes I guess it's the little things. So many of us take for granted. You come into a place, you just sit down at a table. And for people who are compromised physically, every little thing is a big thing. So we could have we are sitting at a table now because your machine goes up and down. But it's incredible how people just take for granted things, and how you have now been able to, for an entire population, make something more accessible.
Yes, that's right. Standing at the bar, for example, I can stand. There was a big rehabilitation exhibition in Düsseldorf, Germany, called Rehaker, and it was the first time. And we introduced we introduced this our device, and I was able to stand with my colleagues, drink coffee, and later on lunch. It was kind of so strange feeling, something that. I don't know. I suppose there are people that have to take drugs in order to feel like that. Standing. When the first time after 18 years I stood, my wife cried. My children were amazed. So this is like life-changing. Now, oftentimes you get to a bar, at the hotel, and the bar, and you stand. I mean, I'm standing. But then the bar is a bit too low for that. When I'm staying too high, okay, I can. And then there is a function of high sitting. I can still sit, but high, and then decide the exact height that I need. So actually, it gave me kind of freedom, quite of being in the core of society.
You can adjust yourself to the situation just like anyone would.
Now, one of the problems being handicapped and disabled in a wheelchair is the loss of self-esteem, the dignity problem. And another thing is you feel excluded. I mean, not really part of the core of society. And this changes things. For example, when it's crowded, like here today, for sitting and maneuvering, navigating through the crowd, you have someone to pave ask people to, and when you're standing, they see you, and you don't have to explain anything. They just move aside, kind of.
So, so now let's get a little practical. Where is the machine made? Is it made in Israel? Is it made in a different country? Is it available around the world? How would someone get in touch with you? You have a website. If they're listening to this and they themselves have some handicaps or know people who could use this chair?
Presently, we are in investment round. We need mainly for what is called working capital, and we are at the beginning of manufacturing and the beginning of marketing. Since we have the FDA, our main market was going to be in the U.S. We have about more than a year, maybe 2 years, the CE mark, which is essential for the Europe. So these are the immediate targets. And what was the rest of your question?
No, if people want to be in touch with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Fine. They can use our website, which is like the name of the company. It's upandride.com, and then they can find the way out to contact us.
Do you have a machine for children, or it's for adults, for full-size people?
Presently, we're told that you can use the same device. You can adjust it to minimum size, and then right now add maybe cushions to adjust for the child. Later on, we're going to increase, enlarge our basket product mix later on, and we'll have for smallest.
So, Dr. Goffer, thank you so much. You took. It's hard to even say disability because that's not the appearance that you give at all. But you took something that happened to you and made it better for yourself, but also for others. And that's a very Israeli thing to do, I think. And so it's very right that to meet you here in Jerusalem at this Our Crowd Summit.
Thank you. I would like to add that there is possibility to invest us through our crowd. We are in their platform right now. Yeah, thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you for adding that, and thank you so much for taking the time. So thank you for listening. Eve Harow on Rejuvenation for the Land of Israel Network. And once again, thanks to Tabitha and thanks to Ben for helping me pull this together. Shavua Tov, everyone. Have a great week. Chodesh Tov as we roll into Adar, into the happy month of Adar. I will be back, I hope, with more to say, as usual, next week. So take care, everybody. Goodbye for now.
You're listening to the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com, broadcasting the truth and beauty